The cold metal handcuffs bit into William Carter's weathered wrists as he sat uncomfortably in the back seat of the police cruiser. Through the window, he could see curious onlookers gathering on the university campus where he'd taught constitutional law for 30 years. At 72, with silver hair and dignified bearing, Professor Carter had never imagined himself detained like a common criminal. The expression on his face remained calm, but his heart hammered against his chest. Officer Dawson glared at him through the rearview mirror, eyes filled with unwarranted suspicion. "You can explain all you want downtown," Officer Dawson sneered. "People like you always have excuses." William knew exactly what "people like you" meant. He'd heard those words too many times before. Just hours before, William had been in his element. The lecture hall buzzed with energy as he passionately discussed landmark civil rights cases. His students hung on every word, notebooks open, minds engaged. William loved these moments, when the law felt alive and meaningful. "Remember," he'd told them, placing his worn leather briefcase on the podium, "justice isn't abstract. It requires vigilance and courage." After class, Dean Thompson had approached him about chairing a new diversity initiative. They'd walked together across the sun-dappled quad, planning enthusiastically. William had stopped at his car to retrieve a forgotten book when campus security received a call about a suspicious person near faculty vehicles. The caller had described someone who didn't belong there, someone who was probably stealing. That someone, apparently, was William Carter. Despite his university ID badge prominently displayed on his tweed jacket, the squad car screeched to a halt beside William's sedan. Officers Dawson and Reeves emerged, hands already resting on their holsters. William turned slowly, his movements deliberate, aware of how quickly situations like this could escalate. "Sir! Step away from the vehicle!" Officer Dawson shouted, his voice unnecessarily loud in the quiet parking lot. William raised his hands instinctively. "Officers, there seems to be a misunderstanding. I'm Professor William Carter. This is my car." Officer Reeves circled behind him. "We got a report of someone breaking into vehicles. Let's see some ID." "It's in my pocket." "May I reach for it?" William asked calmly. Slowly, Dawson barked. William carefully produced his faculty ID and driver's license. "As you can see, I teach constitutional law here. I've been on faculty for 3 decades. Officer Dawson barely glanced at the credentials before handing them to Reeves. "Anyone can fake an ID. Why were you tampering with this car?" "I wasn't tampering with anything. I was retrieving a book from my own vehicle." A small crowd of students had gathered now. William recognized Tasha Reynolds, one of his brightest students, recording the interaction on her phone. "Professor Carter, are you okay?" she called out. "Step back, miss," Reeves warned. William saw the fear in Tasha's eyes and felt a surge of anger. "I insist you check the registration in my glove compartment. It will confirm this is my vehicle." Instead, Dawson spun him around, slamming him against the car hood. "You're being uncooperative. Hands behind your back. This is outrageous." William protested as cold metal handcuffs snapped around his wrists. "I've done nothing wrong." The booking area of the precinct buzzed with activity. Officer Dawson pushed William toward the processing desk while nearby officers barely looked up from their paperwork. "I demand my phone call," William stated firmly, his patience wearing thin after 30 minutes of being ignored. The desk sergeant, a heavy-set man with a nameplate reading Bronson, smirked. "You'll get it when we're good and ready. We have procedures here." William noticed other detainees, all white, being processed quickly, allowed calls, even released. Yet he remained handcuffed to the bench. "I'm a constitutional law professor. You're violating multiple statutes right now," William said, his voice low but commanding. "I want my phone call, and I want it now." Officer Reeves leaned in. "Think your fancy degree makes you special? Around here, you're just another troublemaker." William felt a cold clarity descend. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. "Sergeant Bronson," he called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I am formally requesting my legally mandated phone call." Every minute you delay is another violation I'll be adding to my complaint." The room fell silent. Bronson's face darkened, but he nodded to a junior officer. "Give Professor Smartmouth his call. Let's see who's so important he needs to disturb them at this hour." William stood before the ancient wall-mounted phone, painfully aware of Officer Jenkins hovering nearby, pretending not to listen. With steady fingers, he dialed a number he rarely used but had memorized decades ago. 1 ring. 2 rings. Then a gruff voice answered. "This better be important at 9 o'clock at night. Marcus, it's Will Carter. I apologize for the hour, but I'm being detained at the West Side Precinct on fabricated charges." There was a pause, then Supreme Court Justice Marcus Robinson's voice sharpened. "Will? What in God's name happened?" William recounted the events concisely, aware of Jenkins' widening eyes as the conversation continued. "Give me 20 minutes, Justice Robinson stated firmly. "And put whoever's in charge on the phone. Now." William handed the receiver to a now pale Officer Jenkins. "Justice Robinson would like to speak with your commanding officer." The word "justice" echoed through the station as Jenkins stammered into the phone. Within seconds, Captain Harris rushed from his office, straightening his uniform. "This is Captain Harris speaking, Your Honor." There appears to have been a misunderstanding. William watched the transformation with grim satisfaction. Power recognized power, and Marcus Robinson had plenty. But more importantly, he had truth on his side. Exactly 18 minutes later, the station doors swung open. Justice Marcus Robinson strode in, his 6'4" frame commanding attention even without his judicial robes. Beside him walked District Attorney Elena Vega and Civil Rights Attorney Benjamin Taylor. The bustling precinct fell into stunned silence. "Where is he?" Justice Robinson's resonant voice carried across the room. William stood, still handcuffed to the bench. The justice's eyes narrowed dangerously at the sight. "Remove those restraints. Now." The words were quiet but landed like thunderclaps. Captain Harris scrambled forward. "Justice Robinson, we were just sorting out. What you were sorting out appears to be a blatant civil rights violation," DA Vega interrupted, her clipboard already filling with notes. "Professor Carter's student sent us the video footage. Very enlightening." Officers Dawson and Reeves shrank back as Justice Robinson approached William, clasping his old friend's shoulders. "You all right, Will?" "Better now," William replied, rubbing his freed wrists. Attorney Taylor addressed the room. "Every officer involved in this incident will be interviewed by my office tomorrow. Every single one." Captain Harris looked stricken. "There was a report of suspicious activity. The only suspicious activity," Justice Robinson boomed, "was committed by your officers. Detaining a distinguished professor for accessing his own vehicle? I've seen the registration documents Ms. Reynolds provided. You didn't even bother to check."